Since he was speaking about technology, I hope I do this right. So thank you for having me. My name is Olöf and I come from Iceland. Atladóttir, you did a fine job on my last name. Thank you so much, and thank you to the UNWTO for having me. So today I'm going to speak from the point of view of Iceland, which has been experiencing what we can call explosive growth after the world-famous bank crash in 2008. Tourism has been growing for about 20 to 30% annually when we look to visitor numbers since 2012. We have many foreign workers since the essence of humanity is that we can't produce new workers except on a 20-year scale, approximately. So we have been graced by many people that come to Iceland to help us out with our work. We have many low-skilled workers. Obviously, even though many jobs have been created in Iceland through the activity sector especially, which call for a lot of skills, we still have, of course, many low-skilled workers. We were not prepared for this explosive growth, as I don't think any other destinations would have been. So we need to think about how to train our frontline staff specifically. Now, why would we want specific training? Why isn't it enough just to have somebody, for example, at the counter at a hotel who can hand you a key without dropping it? Well, for a destination such as Iceland, we do not compete in prices. We are an expensive destination, and what we need to keep up our competitiveness is to have quality and skills and professionalism in place. Because that means that we get increased customer satisfaction, increased customer safety. Iceland can be a dangerous land, and there I'm referring to activities and recreation specifically. From that we get increased employee satisfaction. We are graced with the growth of tourism outside of the summer season too, which means that we are creating whole year jobs in an increasing amount. And this means that we want to have increased employee retainment because we want to have to train new employees on a monthly basis. And obviously quality and skills and talents should be an inclusive part of any quality certification. And that means whether we are talking about accommodation, gastronomy, transportation, activities, public services, because swimming pools in Iceland provide an important recreation for our guests, and more. Now we have created this, to start with one of two case studies I wanted to introduce. We have created an Icelandic quality and environmental certification system. It has two categories. It has all tourism services except for accommodation, and that means everything from the bus driver or the bus company to the visitor center within the national park, going on through glacial expeditions and diving. And we also have a star grading system for accommodation. Now, in both categories, we have a big emphasis on the training of management and staff, because obviously we want to train our staff, but that often means that we need to train management too. In Iceland, we have companies which are small and micro-sized, not small and medium-sized enterprises, because they consist of me and my husband, typically, with our annual staff. And we are blasted with work, so we don't have time to train ourselves. And that's one thing that you need, because that extrapolates in the willingness to train your staff. And obviously, within accommodation, we also need the training of staff because they provide this customer satisfaction. A well-qualified worker, be he what we call low-skilled or high-skilled, is the essence of our experience. And that is what our guests are expecting now. They're expecting an experience from A to Z. And in all sectors and all aspects, they want quality. Now, this means that they will, if people are well-trained, they will receive quality service. We know that services which have management who are knowledgeable will be, we have assurance that people are abiding by the rules. And also, we know that people that go through quality services have gone through a logistical exercise where they learn how to become recognized for their quality services. As I said, we have more customer satisfaction, and we also want people to act in a socially responsible way and an environmentally responsible way. And this is increasingly important for our guests. Now, what we need also to do is to look towards where these people should be trained. Where do we want people to study? And that is also a challenge in Iceland. We are 330,000 people, receiving almost 2 million guests on an annual basis. So obviously we need to train people, but we also need to train people that come from abroad. So what we have done, we have tried to define the job profiles, the competence analysis for each job that we have defined. And we want to validate prior learning and prior experience so that people can come in with some sort of basis that can reflect in wages and prestige even. And one thing that is very, very important is that we need to bridge the gap between academic and vocational education so that people that have a vocational background, they can move forward into academia to provide academia with the necessarily on the floor knowledge upon which to base further research. And not least, we need to bridge the gap between formal and informal education. One thing we experienced in the aftermath of the bank crash was that the people that became unemployed, and we had an unprecedented unemployment rate of 12% after the bank crash in 2008. It is 1% now. But one thing we experienced was that the people that became unemployed were the people with the least education. And they were awed by, having to go through a whole 4-year program or having to sort of change their lives. So what we need to do is to have an informal platform upon which to base formal education so that people can continue and grow and experience pride in their increasing knowledge. Because one of the things that this reflects on is also then our foreign visitors or our foreign inhabitants, our foreign residents who are coming to bridge our gap in the generational gap when we need to provide all these people for all these jobs, and we need to be able not least to provide them with education and social immersion. And that is also a skill that you need to provide. For people coming from other cultures, how are they going to live within Iceland? Now, we can see I've mentioned a lot of these things before, but mainly it is a shortage of time. So we need to focus on results, and we need to adapt what we are doing within the training programs to the needs of these SMEs, these micro-size organisms, and we need to have practical training which is back-to-back and measures a training outcome that people can take with them into the future. And the newly established Tourism Skills Center, you see their logo up there, and I will be happy to provide you with contact addresses for both that and Vakin in the end. We believe that this will be one of our ways for bridging all the gaps that are in place between what we need and what we have. And we need also, finally, to cooperate between ministries because tourism is a holistic industry, and it needs participation for a lot of, from a lot of actors, a lot of public organizations and a lot of ministries, and not least from the tourism sector. And what we need to do and what we are embarking upon is a national competence strategy which will be inherent in our national tourism strategy, where we discuss things on a holistic basis with the participation of all stakeholders. And this is one of the snapshots from my holidays that I've included because I couldn't have a video like my colleague from Argentina. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Olöf. Susana, turno.
Vamos para allá. Bueno, pese a mis 317 años, me muevo con